Hi everyone, I'm Adam.
And I'm Gary with Brightengale.
And today we're talking about the Behringer X32 and the Yamaha TF-5. The first digital console I really ever laid my hands on was probably the mid-2000s, and it was like Yamaha LS9, precursor to this by quite a few years. And I remember when I saw that and when I used it, I thought it was the most unbelievable thing. And don't get me wrong, there was flaws with it, just like everything, but like the price point that it was at and the functionality that it had, I thought was unbelievable. And I'd never seen anything like it. And you know, at the time when digital consoles cost many tens of thousands of dollars, the LS9 came out at a sub $10,000 price point, and I'd never seen anything like it until the X32. The X32 came out, 2010, 2012.
Something like that,
in that ballpark. And this, I mean, as far as specs and price point, I want to say this came out sub $5,000.
Yeah.
Today, they're around $2,500. And as far as bang for the buck, features you get, I don't think there's anything on the market that is as ubiquitous as this. At this point, this is an old design, right? There's not even a touchscreen on this, but it's still readily available. And it's very common, and most sound operators know how to use it, have seen it, and probably spent a good amount of time on it. The Yamaha TF-5 is one of Yamaha's newer consoles. It's been out a few years. It's taking, it's simplifying a lot of the workflows of their more professional consoles. Their QL series, their CL series. Then, of course, there's their flagship, the Rivage. What I think this console really excels at is a couple things. The first thing is simplicity. I think you can even see it visually, right? There's many less buttons on it. There's a lot of features in here that are really tailored towards a new operator, a new sound operator, or like maybe it's a volunteer operator, just someone that doesn't have a lot of experience. And I think that makes this really, really amazing. And on a side note, I would say that the Yamaha consoles have better support than the X32. But the X32 has more control and is more, I would say more people are experienced with it. So I would say if you're making a decision on which console to get between these two consoles, the high level decision is if you have a lot of guest sound operators coming in, you probably want an X32. If you have a very small number of sound operators that only work for you, maybe your church, house of worship, I would get the Yamaha TF-5. I think it sounds a little better. I think the learning curve is lower, and the reliability is higher. That being said, the X32 is everywhere. It's a great console. It does absolutely everything you could want a digital console to do. So let's dig a little deeper and let's look at these interfaces.
All right, so here's the X32, here's the layout. I do like that everything is kind of all within arm's reach up here. You select your channel and you have your gain. You can set your threshold for your gate, threshold for your compressor expander. You can choose your different EQ bands and change the bandwidth, the frequency, and the gain on each one of those. All of your bus sends are over here. So this is nice. You don't have to get into a menu, and you can just click around and actually change things. And if you're going to recall a preset, that's also pretty straightforward on this guy.
All right, Gary. Pretend like it is, I don't know, around 2012 when this console came out. Mumford Sons, they're all over it.
All right.
So we need a Mumford Sons mix. So what I need is a kick drum, an acoustic guitar, and a vocal mic, and that's it.
Boom.
That's all I need.
I got you. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get there. We're gonna select our channel 1, the kick drum always. Go to utility, and we are going to. Well, you see, we already practiced this because I'm already set up on the kick drum. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit load preset. It's gonna ask me if I want to do the thing. I do indeed want to do the thing. Gonna hit confirm. Boom. Is name the channel. It's got me some basic things set up for my gate, my compressor, and my EQ. It will still let me change this if I want to. I can select my band and go ahead and either reduce more or add or whatever we want to do.
And one thing I'm noticing right now, Gary, is that although it's very cool having all those knobs, it looks like they're the only way to control the thing. Is that not a touchscreen?
That is not a touchscreen. I can touch the screen, but it doesn't actually do anything, and people will be mad at you for doing that. So don't do that. So we got our kick drum. Go ahead and bring that up to Unity, along with our main, and get a little kick drum going on over there. And then we go over here. Go ahead and load in our acoustic guitar. And we'll go ahead and hit load preset. Boom! There's our whiskey guitar. Over here, bring that up. Little guitar noises. Now we're gonna load our vocal. Cruise around. And I'm gonna use the TJ vocal. Now load preset. Confirm. Boom. So there we go. There is our Mumford & Sons quick recall on the X32. All right, so as an experienced operator, I typically don't use presets on a console to get it all set up. I'll simply go through and set everything up manually.
All right. So let's hear this. So Anton, our video editor, why don't you throw up a timer in the corner of the screen, and Gary's gonna set up the same 3 channels from scratch. And I think to count as a setup, we have to have a name track, our name channel, some EQ, and some dynamics, and let's see how long that takes. Ready, set, go.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set this up on 5, 6, 7. We'll go ahead, we'll hit that, we'll hit setup, go over to name. I'm gonna select kick drum because it's a name already chosen for me. I'm gonna leave everything orange because the fancy colors don't really matter to me. Home, I'm going to, you can hit these little view buttons to quickly jump to each section. I'm gonna jump to the gate. Go ahead and set our gate up, make it active. Probably needs to be a little lower. There we go. Same with compressor. Bring that down, make the compressor active. 3-to-1 ratio seems reasonable to me. Go over to our EQ and just really quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on like a 50 hertz kind of thing here. Give myself a little love. Turn on the EQ. Go ahead and scoop a little bit out over here around 400 with a pretty wide Q. And maybe get myself like a little 3K boost. 3.5K boost, like a little something right there, again, with a wide Q, like 1.2 kind of thing. And there we go. Go over here, same thing on my guitar. We gotta name that guy. Setup, scroll down. You could also type it in, but it really takes forever on this thing. And if we're against the clock now, all of a sudden, I'm gonna have to do it here. Acoustic guitar, boom, love it. No gate on acoustic guitar, a little bit of compression, a little bit of EQ. Go ahead and turn on my compressor, turn on my EQ. Let's go ahead and get our low cut going. Bring that up to, 95, start there. And the rest of this, we really need to hear the guitar. I'm probably gonna pull a little bit of like a 500 sort of situation out. Wide Q. And then vocal, setup. Should have just done kick, shaker, and something else that was easy to get to. Vocals. On the vocals, a little bit of compression. Bring that down, hit it a little bit harder, enable it. EQ, enable it, low cut, up to 100. And then see what the vocalist sounds like. But since we're adding stuff just to kind of do it, I may maybe add a little bit of a presence boost of 500. It's probably not the right answer. We'll see what we get. And there we go.
Sounds pretty good. Also, I think it's interesting that your workflow uses the knobs below the screen instead of the dedicated knobs. I don't think it's wrong, but I do appreciate that the console has both available, which is kind of nice as you work how you want to work.
Which is nice. One of the main reasons is actually I'm going to put my shoulder in the middle of the camera if I try to reach all the way over here and get these other knobs.
So you're saying you might have been able to go faster if you're able to use those knobs and if you didn't have to tell us what you're doing.
If I hadn't had to tell you what I was doing and I stood on the other side of the camera, maybe that would have been a smarter move. I don't know. Nobody knows.
We'll keep that same handicap for the next console. All in all, what are your impressions of the X32? I mean, you've used it a gajillion times. You've been around for years. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
I like that it's in lots of places, so I don't wander into unfamiliar territory very often. I I like that everything is easily accessible here and here. I don't like that, unlike most kind of modern consoles, there's not a touchscreen. I do enjoy touching the screen on different consoles to choose different things. The layout, once you get used to it, it's very easy to navigate. Yeah.
You've been into the industry longer than this console has existed. Either one of these consoles existed. What has your experience with reliability been with the X32? So I know I've encountered an X32 that had an amazing bug. And that bug was the motors and the faders were wigging out. And so the faders were shaking up and down. But this wasn't just a motor issue. The faders were still controlling the sound.
Oh.
So it was like a tremolo effect
Oh.
on the entire sound system.
That seems pretty good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was really effective. I mean, it was great.
Let's see. Reliability, they don't like outright fail super often these days. I feel like in the early days, like they would lock up occasionally. I feel like they've worked that out. But I've run into ones with like weird things like, oh, like this button here is set up to be a mute group and it sticks every time now. And so if, you mess up and you hit that button, you're never unmuting anything. It's over. The show's over. But it's okay. Trying to get through to Behringer tech support is what I would call not a thing.
All right, well, let's look at the TF-5 and see what's different about it.
All right, so here we have the TF-5. Also pretty cool. You'll see a lack of knobberonis over here. The quick knobs, good and bad. One, you can, stick your iPad, your phone, various other things over here to kind of like, play house music, do whatever you want to do, SPL meter, that sort of thing. Downside of that is you have to get to more things from the menu. Not downside of that is at least we have a touchscreen. So that's pretty cool. Just like we did on the X32, I'm gonna go ahead and crank through recalling a couple presets just to kind of show you what that looks like, how it's different from the X32. And just kind of go through that whole setup process again. Well, first let's go home, all the way home. So here we go. I'm gonna select a channel, channel 1. I'm gonna click onto it, hit the star button, channel 1, and I want to recall, this is not fair, but once again, it wasn't fair on the X32, and I'm gonna choose a kick drum right there. Boom. And parameters are recalled. I've got a kick drum here now. If I get out of this, oh yeah, look at that. Check that out. I got some crazy EQ thing going on already. Let's go ahead and get our second channel set up. Select channel 2, hit the little star button, scroll. Let's actually choose what we want. So that was a guitar, right? Click on guitars, and we'll just kind of scroll, find what we want. And I'm gonna do a acoustic guitar, general DI, and there we go. Now it is set up to be a guitar.
Last thing we need is a vocal.
Last thing we need is a vocal. Boom. Select channel 3. It's already selected up here. I didn't have to go in and out of this thing. Vocal. And we can even, let's just choose, so we got female vocal 1 and 2 and male vocal 1 and 2. This is definitely a male vocal 2 sort of situation. And boom, it's recalled. If we hit this little recall button, it'll recall all the stuff. So,
and one other thing we should notice, there's a fundamental difference between what Yamaha is doing at the recall versus what Behringer is doing. Behringer is pulling just a general EQ dynamics package that they think is appropriate for most things. In the Yamaha world, you could actually choose something like male vocal through an SM58, and it will actually do your mic pre and it's doing an EQ, not just based off of what it thinks a male vocal is, but based off the microphone that you're using. And that is very, very cool and makes the one knob function better.
More useful, yeah. When we click through here, we'll see that we have different head amp settings. I'll probably put my shoulder in the shot, but we can see different head amp settings for each one based on the microphone instrument combination. Again, we can choose how intense or not intense we want these presets to be. Yeah, so one thing I like about this console is on the head amp here, normally to set your gain structure, you only have this knob over here. So you'll turn it up until you find a level that you're happy with. What I think is nice is that it has this little guitar tuner looking thing, and you can really dial it in. And, even though it's not terribly difficult for an experienced sound operator to get it dialed in with this sort of meter, having this to say, oh yeah, you're nailing it. You're pretty much right there in the green most of the time. Makes it easy.
So I think the big takeaway here is if you have a sort of facility that has lots of guest engineers coming through and you don't have a huge budget, these, $3,000 and less consoles are both good options, but I would probably pick the X32 if you have lots of guest engineers. The flip side of that is if you want something that maybe sounds a little bit better and is a little bit easier to use and has a little bit better support, I think the Yamaha TF-5 is the way to go. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it really depends on your situation. And if you need help deciding what is right for you, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email, or leave a comment below, and we'll help you out. Thanks so much.